Amy, I am absolutely chuffed to have the absolutely gorgeous, wonderful Amy Shields from Smart Compliance, as it says on the green screen above you, joining me today. Amy, how the devil are you?
I'm very good, thank you. Thanks for bursting out my eardrums.
That's what I'm here for. That's what I'm here for. I bring the energy. I bring the pizzazz.
Do
Want
you?
to go to Watkins for detail. That's and I'm the human side of things.
Okay.
Can I just say first and foremost, hats off to you. The Women in the State Agency, been going to them since they started because obviously I am the biggest fan and it's an event, so I'll turn up to them all. But this one was just the biggest and best one ever. And
Thank you.
the work that you do in the background for that, I mean, not even in the background, is just absolutely sensational. So big shout
Yes.
out to you. I didn't hear anybody say anything negative. Which when you have as many people as what was it, about 450? Was it
450 in total, including the sponsors and the committee and our
brilliant
champions. Yeah,
venue,
450.
brilliant sponsors, amazing speakers, absolutely great. So that's the
Yes.
first thing I wanted to get off my chest.
Thank you.
Uh, I'll tell you what's a bit weird today, and this is where I genuinely do like both what you're doing and what actually we're doing here today, because this is actually a case where we're not really going to be talking, although we'll obviously, I want to get an update from you on the smart compliance side of things. We're not particularly even talking about compliance, yes, kerfuffled side of things. We're here today to talk about actually one of those really quite interesting areas where suppliers work with other suppliers to help each other out.
Absolutely.
It's 20 EA that we're going to be discussing. And this is quite an interesting angle because it's looking at how they are actually helping other suppliers out deliver a better level of service for the agents, and indeed helping you out on the sales and marketing side. So for those of the people that don't know it, 20 EA, I think it's fair to say, Amy, they've been the go-to data company for many agents, haven't they, for so many years now, giving a really high quality of both industry trend and analysis data there. And I was particularly interested when we heard that they had been rolling out a service on the QT, it's fair to say, to some of the leading suppliers to help them out, as we said on that approach. Now, let's give another shout out. This is another great thing about the power of networking and working close together. So you're on one of the partnership groups, aren't you, with Property Academy? I always have to use this. I always used to have to use this moniker. The lovely Katie Billy. You sit in a group with her, don't you?
I do. Yeah.
Do you just want to talk about how this conversation, how it developed in terms of you started to use the service? We'll come on to the service in a second, but just talk to me about the conversation you had with Katie that kicked it off.
Yeah. I mean, as you said, 20A, the kind of go-to when you need specific data and market trends, and I needed specific data and numbers, which we'll come on to. And so, yeah, I dropped a call into Katie, who I know through Property Academy and obviously all the amazing events in our world. Had a conversation, and she had what I needed, and yeah, was very easy to set up.
And just look, I mean, I would have asked this at the end, but I have to do it before it pops out of my head. Easy to deal with. I mean, because that's one of the problems, isn't it? There's a lot of these companies that actually, they've got the data locked away, but they need to understand, what you need, and to kind of move it from data to useful information that you can actually deploy is one of the key things.
Yeah, I mean, we use it in an incredibly simple way, but it's
do you want to give us an overview?
Incredibly important.
What you can tell us without obviously having to kill the listeners and people watching
and the competition. No, I mean, as I said, we use it in such a simple way, but it's absolutely imperative to our business that we get it and get the right numbers. So as we started to grow, we very quickly needed to start understanding the lead volume of compliance pack orders that were going to be coming into our business and into our contact center every month. And as we were growing, we were obviously getting more and more new business, more and more new agents joining us, and we needed to start predicting the lead volume, each month as we go forward. So, 2, 3, 4 months in advance with our pipeline.
Yep.
And obviously, my sales team and the partnership managers are speaking to estate agents, trying to understand their sort of numbers. And we needed accurate numbers. So, an agent, unfortunately, can take on, 20 houses one month and then 6 the next month. And and we needed an average over a year. So I dropped a call to Katie and said, look, I need this. Have you got it on Insights? Can you get me a login so I can sort of see if it's what we need? She gave me a login, and then very quickly realised that it is what we needed. So we set up the deal, and all my team have access to 20EA now.
Okay.
And very simply,
that's one of the key bits of their tech stack essentially is 20A
Insights. Yeah.
Okay.
And that's the only bit of it we needed. And 20A has a real incredible group of products and solutions for agents to use. But that was, so we use it so simply. All we do is we will, before a meeting take with an agent, we will look at their average instruction number for the whole of last year. So we need a monthly. So we'll take the whole of 2024. Take the total amount of instructions, divide it by 12 to get a monthly average. We do exactly the same with the sales agreed, so subject contracts, which gives us a monthly average prediction that agent will be then ordering compliance packs for that amount of people, which we can then put into our capacity planner. And the reason it's so important for us is because we are, as you know, a human service. We're not just a bit of tech. So we use tech. I'll add that as a caveat, but we're not tech. So we actually base recruitment decisions on the numbers provided by 20EA, which feeds our capacity planner. So if we've got, a huge amount of, a couple of, 10 branch agencies joining in the same month, we potentially are going to need to recruit to bolster our numbers in the contact center to make sure we can provide the service level that we need to. So it's imperative for us. We have to have accurate numbers. We need to know exactly what's going to be coming into the contact center, and to know what's in our pipeline so that we can recruit on that basis.
I think that's really, really interesting. You won't say this, but because obviously I'm the one who loves being contentious, but it is difficult because you ask agents, and with a few notable exceptions, they're not particularly great at gauging those numbers as well, or at least being able to give accurate predictions of what it's going to be. And why that is a massive issue is, and again, we've discussed it on the partnership group, we sit in a different one, but sat around that room, it becomes an existential problem for the suppliers as to what point they staff up. Ideally, you obviously staff up ahead of obviously the pipeline starting to hit, but you get that wrong, and that can be hugely expensive and obviously a massive mistake there. Agents are exactly the same, of course, and looking at and using those tools wherever you can do to give you the edge makes a big one. But I think this is just a classic example, really, isn't it? Of if you can't measure it, you can't manage it, can you? So that's
exactly that. And if we get it wrong, we literally will have a much bigger staff pay bill than we need, or the opposite, and then our service levels would drop because we haven't got it right. So it's just the accuracy we need, and that's why 20EA is just so key to what we do.
Because one of the things that we encourage all of our clients to do is to do the basic kind of due diligence on this by talking to existing clients. So everyone, like in the CRM world, they will all claim the same kind of stuff. We do integrations with XYZ, but clearly just using that integrations is on a spectrum of capability. To some, the integration might be firing off an email, whereas what it means to the agent is it's a two-way full passing of information, a proper API. And what we're talking about here is a lot of obviously the data providers will say, well, we do what those do, but can they do it to the quality that obviously 20A? That's the big question. So just on that point, from a qualitative angle, what's the data of 20A like in the way that you use it?
I mean, when we quote the figures, we look it up before a meeting, and then we'll sort of just chat around the numbers with that potential agent that we're going to be working with, and they always say, yeah, that's bang on. We've never had any issues with the accuracy of the data. It was really interesting looking at it at the beginning of this year because obviously agents went into January super busy. So we were expecting January to be busy, so we did predict that, which was great. But my goodness, the numbers in January and February were through the roof.
Sure.
So it's handy.
Yeah. And I think, look, I mean, it shows, isn't that interesting actually? Although this this is one, I know it's overused, but this is genuinely one of those industry's best kept secrets, because I didn't know you were using it. Chris Watkins is always putting out just a really actionable, useful information in terms of there. We use Intel as well for the we use it for, on the RAN side of things. I mean, admittedly, and I do this just to wind Chris Watkins up. Actually, we use it to see who the best markets agents are in terms of market share and everything else there.
Yep.
But it's just, this stuff wasn't available 10, 20 years ago, was it? It was like
No.
that was, is this a good agent? And what's really fascinating is the story that a lot of the agents told, and just because some of them shouted a lot and their marketing was brilliant, actually didn't bear a lot of relevance to what they were doing in terms of the numbers. And similarly, there are loads of great agents, aren't there, that keep their head down and they do phenomenal numbers.
Yeah. And interestingly, the other angle on this is my sales team being, obviously I'm going to say this, they are epically awesome. They started using 20EA in another way that I then found out about. So they actually use it as a sales tactic, because we found that once we get an agent working in one area, others tend to follow, because we charge obviously the client for anti-money laundering, for their AML checks. We're a bit of a first in that, and we tend to find that once one agent in an area starts charging for AML, their competitors and others then will start, and it kind of snowballs. My team clocked this, and very easily and quickly they can put in the agent that we're working with. And then what will come up is a list of all of the other agents that also work in that postcode area. So they can then target all of the other agents in that postcode area.
I'll tell you what you got there as well is, I mean, you're obviously a fantastic, you're our platinum partner, obviously, on the RAN side of things. And we were at the Midlands group this week. Obviously, you did previously when at the regionals. And John Payne was shouting about just how fantastic you guys were, obviously having signed up. And although you can't, it's not ordinarily the case. Obviously, you wouldn't advertise this to your closest competitors. But he was making the point that he'd been so impressed by it that he'd referred on to 2 other agents, around the country.
Oh no, we get that. We get agents wanting their competitors to work with us. Firstly, because it actually makes it easier from a charging clients, I suppose. They want the other agents in the town, admittedly, to be charging for AML and these other sort of legislation things, EPCs and material information, etc. as well. But also it means that obviously from our point, the compliance packs, because they're valid for a certain amount of time, we obviously have to redo them for the new agent. But it does mean that, when there are chains involved, the compliance packs, aspects of them can be shared. So it's, it does make it easier when you've got more agents in one town.
I need to come up with a better analogy, because it's not one that people will particularly, I think, like. But I always thought about it in every business I've done here, is that if you look at it, if you look at the map from a supplier perspective, it's like a benign kind of COVID or pandemic kind of map, because once you get one of those market leaders, you get a John Payne using that in there, as you said yourselves. Other agents look to them, don't they, to see what the market leaders in those areas are doing, and you see this time and time again. Once you can have no clients in a particular area for ages, and then suddenly you get one that's obviously notable and is able to do it, and suddenly it just spreads out on from there. As I said, like a benign supplier pandemic, as it were. That domino effect works, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the RAN groups are a really good example of that, because every RAN meeting that I'm privileged enough to attend, and I was at one yesterday, which was a really good one actually, in Kent. And not only do we, I stand there and give everybody an update on compliance and send them all to sleep. Lettings is big at the moment. But
I've sat through a number of those, and actually, we always say, because you don't have to do the hard sell. What I love about it is the thought leadership that you deliver there is absolutely valued. So
it's just an advice session, but also I always want to encourage the RAN agents to firstly charge for AML and not be scared to do so, and follow now the thousands of agents that are up and down the UK, and make at least cover the cost of the compliance, because you shouldn't be paying for a legal requirement. But also, just give advice. That you tend to find in the round sessions, people have got questions about certain scenarios they've had before, or just want some advice on the material information or the new lettings legislation that's coming up. So it's a really good sort of think tank more than anything.
Yeah, spot on. You're absolutely right. That's really good. So, okay, that's great. So let's just wrap this up around the kind of just on the 20A side of things. So it works for you. It delivers an ROI. I think we're hearing here really
Absolutely.
One of the key angles I would say is, and I always say this to anyone using a product, if you were to try and take away 20A from your sales team, I'm guessing they wouldn't be overly happy, would they?
No, they would absolutely not, because they'd then have to, we as a business would have to rely on and actually obtaining the information from agents that we need to predict our capacity. But then also, it's a sales tool for them. They'd have to do a lot more research using the portals and.
When we talk about it, you just be talking about that thought leadership that you do give to the agents in that vital area. But the other thing about this is when your sales team and yourself go out and see an agent, the very fact that you know the numbers and know them so well, know it for their catchment area as well. That's a consultative approach that will mark you out from being a very different sort of supplier, won't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, knowledge is power in every format of sales. So we want to come across as the experts in not only compliance, but also the market that agent's working in estate agency in general. We know their pain points. We're all ex-agents, so we do know what they go through on a day-to-day basis. But
excellent. So value for money, obviously good tick in the box. Yeah, they deliver for you.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's really reasonable. And how we use it, it's just invaluable for us. Like, to base recruitment decisions on another supplier's bit of tech is pretty powerful, right?
And obviously, I'm a review whore at heart. If you were to give it stars out of 5,
7.
I love that. Love it. Okay, and now what we'll do, Amy, because I'm looking after you. You know I'll watch your back. Is let's do now the testimonial for any of your competitors. So is that right, Amy? The service that you get from 20A is really, really rubbish and it doesn't work for you. Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's terrible. Absolutely terrible. I wouldn't use it at all.
You'd say don't use that, wouldn't you? I think to anybody out there, that's it. Okay. Look, Amy, thank you for taking the time out to share that with us. Any other suppliers, jump on board with us, have a chat with us in the first instance. I think Google the lovely Katie Billany at 20A and you will obviously find her. And just make sure you saw the even lovelier, I think I'm going to get in trouble there,